Previously on AFTN.
Now, this might be too much information to share, but when Colombia scored that stoppage time equaliser, I yelled so loud, my hole hurt. I had to Google to see if that was something you could do. Can you rupture your hole by screaming too much?
Zach, I don't know if we're going to have Zach back for a while.
I even called my wife up and I asked her, is this a thing? She didn't know. She was laughing as much as you, though.
I think I have the opening for next week's show.
Maybe.
It's Sunday. It's 9 o'clock. It's cracker. No, it's the AFTN Soccer Show. That's a throwback for people my age that grew up in the UK. Children's TV. Yes, welcome everyone. You're listening to another episode of the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio, broadcasting from the unceded Musqueam territory at the University of beautiful British Columbia. I'm Michael McCall.
I'm Steve Pander.
And I'm Zachary Adam Eisenhammer.
And if you're listening to this show on the podcast, this is episode 283. We were expecting this to be episode 284, but this week's preview podcast got curtailed. Mrs. Joe Deasy got rushed to hospital. There's a baby Deasy.
Yep.
Congratulations, Joe, on becoming a dad for the first time. His son's called Declan.
Yeah, name after, what's his name?
Declan Wynn.
Oh, no.
Declan Hill?
Yeah, that's what I thought. His name. The fix is it.
Yeah, Declan Deasy.
And I wore this t-shirt in his honor.
Oh, yes, Double D.
Yeah, Daredevil t-shirt.
Big fan of Double D's, I've got to say. Anyway, we have a lot to cover on the show tonight. Also want to say some thanks to Koenraad. We talked about him last week. He gave us our Dutch treats. My fast is over. I've been able to enjoy them this week. Divvied them up. The guys on the preview show got some. And I grudgingly gave some to Steve and Zach. So they have some that they can munch on this week. Also want to say a big thank you to Adam, Wasted Sundays, for delivering chocolate digestive nibbles. 2 packs of them. Mwah. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, enough of that. We've got a lot of football chat to get through this evening.
Oh, football chat.
Some good stuff, some bad stuff. We're going to talk about the Whitecaps. Again, we seem to say this a lot, whatever that was this weekend. We'll talk World Cup. We'll talk Canadian PL. We're going to talk TSS Rovers. We've got an interview with Dale Mitchell chatting World Cup memories of Mexico 86 with Canada. Going to hear from Bobby Lenarduzzi talking about the Canadian Championship Voyageurs Cup, so we'll chat a little bit about that as well. Lot to get through. As always, we're going to kick off with Whitecaps chat. DC United opened their new stadium. They asked for easy competition so they could get off to a winning start. MLS sent Vancouver Whitecaps. Worked perfectly for them. And it's finally happened. It's the week we've been waiting for. The Whitecaps' actual position in the standings now matches our points per game total. We're 8th.
It's all coming together.
Yeah. Saves me having to constantly flick back and forth between the two standings. That makes me happy. 2 points off the final playoff spot, though.
2 points per game?
No.
2 points
feels
overall.
Like that.
Okay.
Just 2 points overall. Well, we've played 1 and 3 more matches from the 4 teams that's above us. And there's 4 points now separates the teams from 4th, Portland, 8th, ourselves. So we'll come to that later on. But let's kick things off. Bit of fun.
Are we going to kick things off with John O'Flynn's calling? Because he really wants to call.
We can maybe get him to call in. I know he is listening. We'll kick things off, though, with best alliteration to describe the DC match. Disappointment in DC, disaster in DC, or debacle in DC, or something else.
I would probably put disappointment. I'd probably pick disappointment out of those three.
Deflation?
It's like
it's not
like when your parents say, "I'm not mad at you, I'm just disappointed."
Oh yeah, yeah. There you go.
That feels worse.
My parents never say that to me. Must just be you.
Yeah, it was a disappointment. I'd say.
I'm going with debacle. Debacle.
Why was it a debacle?
I just
to you?
like the word.
Oh, that's fair.
Oh, yeah.
No, I have calmed down a bit, and talking to Steve, I'm viewing the overall performance slightly more positively than I was when I wrote a rundown for the show.
Yeah, I read it.
I was positive.
Well, you talked me up.
Really? Okay. I don't remember being that positive about it.
Well, quick thoughts. Well, you said we had a lot of close chances.
We did.
Close calls.
Yes, yeah. There were close calls.
Quick thoughts on the performance just to kick things off. Was it as bad as it feels? It was a 3-1 loss. We did hit the bar. We hit the post. Couple of set-piece chances. Aha headed wide. Henry headed wide. But overall, the feeling I came out of it was that we just played really poorly.
Hey, I just feel fortunate that no Vancouver Whitecap got hit by any falling part of the stadium.
Yeah, that's good.
That
was there a reporter?
Yeah, but there was apparently some other incidents as well. But one of the sideline reporters got hit by some falling railing, and then had to get taken off the broadcast because it hit her on the head, which is absolutely shocking.
There was duct tape apparently used.
They started duct taping bits of the stadium that were falling apart. I don't know if it was the heat because it was a really hot day, or just with folk jumping around.
Wait, Michael. You're not a coach making an excuse for a bad result on the road when you say the heat made the stadium fall apart. That's not a legitimate excuse.
It was fine lines.
Oh my goodness. The worst.
It was small margins between the metal being attached properly and not being attached properly.
The most awkward is I heard someone from Montreal complaining about the stadium in DC falling apart. I wanted to be like, have you been to the Big O lately?
The Olympic Stadium, yeah. That fell apart. Luckily, nobody was there, that one.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Not as if they had lots of time to get it ready.
How many years have they been working on it?
But I mean,
well, sir, we can joke about this because I don't think anyone's like permanently hurt, right?
I don't think
as
so.
far as we know.
If this is edited out the podcast, it means I've gone home and checked, and she is in a serious condition in hospital. But as far as I know, everything's okay.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I wouldn't. I just say it because I wouldn't want to make a light of it if someone was really badly hurt.
No, but it's pretty poor. So 3 losses now in our last 4 matches. All those losses.
To bad teams.
You could describe them as piss poor teams. I would not give them that bad tag since they beat us.
Maybe it's because
what does that make us?
I thought you didn't want to insult piss.
Oh man, maybe it's because they just want to take points from teams above them to show that they're worth it.
It has been something though that's plagued us for a while. We struggle against the poor teams, and then we do well against the teams at the top, but. The first 2 are piss poor teams. No, you can't not say that about Philly and Colorado.
Yeah.
DC, for me, without wanting to make excuses and try and set a narrative, but they have been on the road. They've played fewer games than anyone else.
Well, isn't it 15 of the next 20 are at home?
Yeah.
Yeah, and only 1 outside their time zone.
They've just added a big name.
It only came halfway out. What minute did he enter?
Are you talking about David Osted?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was
Matix carries the team on his back.
Totally, that's the thing. I think David Osted would have given one of his extra organs to win that. To stick it to.
He's got extra organs.
I don't know. You got 2
Is
of
that
some.
right. Is that why he's called the Great Dane?
No, but you know what I mean. I think he was
Yes.
I think he told the teammates, "There's no way we're dropping points
that.
in it." Yeah.
Yes.
And Darren too, in a different way, but I think.
The fact that DC have had their struggles because they've been on the road and all that kind of stuff, does that make this loss feel any better of losing to a bad team?
No. What? No.
I'm trying to do the thing that the Whitecaps like of balance.
I don't know why. I don't know why we're talking about anything else other than Alphonso Davies' goal. Why? There's nothing else to talk about from that match that is enjoyable. I know you're going to get to it. I know you're going to get to it, but like,
okay. Let's talk about it. Let's start.
I'm not trying to
start with the high.
I'm not trying to force your.
I was going to start with the low and build up to the high,
we can keep going. We can keep going.
Okay.
I just might not say much.
The fact that we are losing to these teams, does this mean that we are actually a bad team? Has our position on the table been inflated?
I think we're definitely like an inconsistent team that plays to the level of the competition, and like I think
or below it,
whatever the level is, to the level of.
I think inconsistent's not a bad word. A word we probably used in the entire MLS era, which is not shocking when you're playing in a league of parity, or somewhat parity now. It's changing a little bit, but no, I think your question is an interesting one. I think, Michael, these drop points against teams that you shouldn't drop points against more has made Vancouver. It has not enabled them to be what they could be. Right? If they picked up points in all three of these, or full points in all three of these games, if they had not dropped points in some of those draws, Vancouver would be in the top.
Which I also think would be a false representation of what this team is. But I mean, if we are losing to these teams and we are not consistent, what is it down to? Is it the coaching? Is it the lineups?
Is it the players?
Is it the players? Is it formation, tactics? Combination of everything.
Is it the communication that they can't get to?
Can you sum that up in 10 seconds?
No, definitely not. But I don't think it would be misrepresented the team. I think had they beaten these three poor teams, had they gotten, say, 3 or 4 wins out of those 4 draws or whatever it was, I think that they would be a team where every player was playing to their levels or above.
Okay.
Right? And if you're the Vancouver Whitecaps and the model you've chosen, and your players are not doing that, this is what you get. Whose fault is that?
Yeah.
I you know what I'm going to say. It's the squad building. It's the model's fault. Like I was thinking about
nothing to do with if it's not the players' fault, and we've got the players that can get through these games. It's not to do then with the coaching.
No, for me, in one sense, it's a lack of. It's not putting together a better squad, which to me starts with designated players. And if you don't get that right, then you're like how many? I don't know how many times we can talk about this.
We're going to get 20 million for Fonzie. So I mean, obviously that is
that'll be reinvested back into the club.
Well, I am expecting that whole 20 to bring Messi here
for a vacation, or
just show him around Vancouver, and then he'll be like, "No, it's a fake pitch. No, you're okay."
No, but seriously, I was thinking that on the way here. I know people this season have been on the coaches, have been concerned about the coach and coaching staff, and this result maybe has reignited that for some people, or kept those coals burning for some people.
It certainly seems to have. Yes.
But honestly, like I think when you look at Carl Robinson's tenure as a coach in Vancouver, like to me, I think he's done as well as you can expect based on the resources that are given for the squad, or even better. 3 to 4 years in the playoffs. If you look at the expectations they're setting, he's achieving well, or maybe in some sense overachieving.
Or to use the famous Scottish phrase, you can only piss with the cock you've got. Maybe his cocks have just not been up to what we need.
Yeah, I'll leave that imagery
This
alone.
analogy is getting derailed a little bit, but
a little bit. But no, seriously, like that's the issue. So to me, that's the primary issue. People who want to harp on maybe the tactics or the whatever squad selection for individual games, those are secondary or tertiary issues that people. They're lower hanging fruit to people. I think they can grasp them easier, so they're going for those things. But the primary issues are the model chosen to build the squad, and that decision is made by the football committee. It's made by the owners and made by Bobo and Rachel and Greg. Like that's where that lies.
I like there is blame for me on the coaching side. The players also have to take responsibility because they have to finish these chances that are getting given to them. And if they're not good enough to finish them, then they need to bring in better players.
But that's the thing. I think you go back to what Steve said. They have in some cases. They have. They haven't been as consistent as most people would want. But it's not like all of these players have shown nothing, right?
No.
So.
Well, let's look at the 3 goals that were given up. We'll just lump them all together.
Well, 2 from outside the box again.
For me, shocking defending all round. Stephen, we were talking about this. I pointed fingers at Davies for the first goal.
How dare you?
I know.
The first goal, I disagree with you because of the fact that you were saying that he shouldn't. Why was he trying to block the shot? The thing is, the problem is we have too many goals, so he actually did the correct thing for blocking the shot.
I don't know if he was even trying to block it. He was just seemed so casual.
Yeah, but he put his foot out there, and then the guy must have changed his mind and passed it.
And I want to stress, I'm not just blaming Davies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of blame to go around, but for me, that was the start of it in that move. But then you've got a guy on the edge of the box, completely unmarked.
The defensive midfielders fell way too deep. They didn't space themselves properly. Kamara was just kind of middling around. He did not see him coming from behind.
No.
I don't remember
it was
who
a
scored.
great finish.
Yeah, it was a great finish once again.
But unmarked on the edge of the box. Shocking. Second goal. Rooney gets the ball. And
there's
what angle you look at it from, there's 4 players,
4 players
around him.
And he did a great job of switching it right over to the other side.
He kind of held it for a second, which allowed 2 of them to then close in. And the 2 that closed in, he then just played it where they had been, which then kept the move going. And again,
one touch right into the middle.
Marcel de Jong, not at fault, but a very feeble, just stuck his leg out to try and stop the guy.
Now that one Davies did exactly what Kamara did on the first goal.
Davies did not track back on that one. He lost his man.
It was similar to Kamara in the first one. So the both issues were not tracking back with the players running down the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Or not or tracking them or whatever. So
and Areola's third.
Yeah.
Again, it was a nice finish, but Rowe, for me, should have been in a way better position to deal with that.
Yeah, the fact that you let a starting keeper leave in the offseason who had done quite well and was actually quite a good shot stopper, I'd say.
Yeah.
Made some pretty dramatic saves because you had someone who you felt was relatively equul.
He earned so many points. He saved so many points.
Yeah, he had some errors.
Yeah.
But he
Goalkeeper as well. And Steph has done
done similar. That's why they said, okay, we're more comfortable with this. It helped in the salary budget thing, whatever. But with him going down, for me, one of the disappointments of this is that they brought in someone, and I think Brian Rowe has made some good saves. Mm-hmm. I just don't think he's made enough big saves.
Not enough big saves, but he hasn't. He's been let out to dry by this defense.
Right. But
that was a discussion I was having. But
my bigger disappointment of this is, like, to me, the Vancouver Whitecaps, based on the residency program and the players we've seen come through, they should have a Canadian
quality keepers.
Yeah, they've had quality keepers. One of those guys should be the actual backup who is getting this opportunity.
I can't remember if it was either on the Southsiders forum or it was on Twitter, but someone was saying about the Whitecaps are terrible at developing keepers.
No.
And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Have you seen the conveyor belt of keepers that we've let go through? Although, in some regard, maybe he's right in that we haven't developed them because they've not made it into the first team squad.
But look at Simon Thomas as Simon Thomas is a prime example. I'll get back to what were we going to say.
I was going to say that the keeper, like most coaches, even goalkeeping coaches, I think, are not comfortable playing young keepers. They wanted them to. They want them to go. They wanted to go.
Jesse Gonzalez.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying the Whitecaps.
Okay.
The Whitecaps seem not to be interested in. They always look at all the way from Joe Cannon to David Ousted was in his late 20s or maybe even 30s when he came over here. Stefan Marinovic is in his late 20s now. So I think
Brad Knighton.
Maybe Marinovic might be in mid 20s. I can't remember what it is, but they're going for more experienced keepers. They don't want to play the 21-year-olds. It seems like. But Spencer Ritchie was sent to Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
He can't play because there's a veteran ahead of him.
Exactly.
But that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about as a backup. The Vancouver Whitecaps have developed enough keepers that their number 2 and number 3 should probably be Canadians.
Yeah.
Defensively, though, and this we've drummed on about this for weeks. Robbo's talked about it for weeks after all, and it's like, we have to change, and nothing changes. There's no urgency. There's no defensive responsibility being shown, and it's all over the pitch.
Is there any update on Captain Kendall's?
He was out on the pitch training pre-game yesterday, so I would
expect
that he's
made the
probably
trip.
going to. Yeah, so I'm expecting that he's going to.
Was
play
he on the bench or no?
Week. No.
Oh.
Marinovic was. So again, we'll talk about midweek in part 2. But people are saying we need Waston back. But I'm concerned that if we get him back, he's going to try and do what he did in 2016 and try and work too hard, try and fix all these errors and do it all himself. And then his game suffers as a result. And then there's more mistakes. And then there's bad tackles, there's cars and everything that goes with it. We're in a hole here. And I don't know that we have the defensive players that's going to get us out of it. And that's the worry.
I just hope the hole's not broken.
I was surprised Rose started because we were told Marinovic was good to go. But
I was too, because you thought he would want that game.
Oh, yeah. Do the defenders have faith in him? Because this was a discussion I was having, that I was saying I felt sorry for him, and it's a lot of the goals haven't been his fault. Then a couple of folk were saying, well, no, they haven't been, but it's as if the defenders don't have faith in him to command his box.
So therefore they're collapsing deep and allowing shots from distance in this game?
I don't get that.
I didn't really get that from those goals.
Yeah. But
maybe other games, but not so much in this game.
For me, it's all on the defence, and especially the centre of defence, which they're getting pulled all over the place. And it doesn't matter who we have in that full-back as well. They're not making any difference either. And we can't keep chopping and changing. Like, Nerwinski 1 week, Franklin 1 week, Nerwinski 1 week. What does that do for the team?
I would be okay with that if it was because of the role we were asking them to play, meaning we're asking them to do so much.
Yeah, it's like you want one attacking, you want one defending. And that,
no.
From week to week.
No, what I mean is you want one to go all out for a full 90 in both attacking and defending, and therefore they need a rest more. They need more often. They need a rest.
Yeah.
Therefore, they're changed more often. But yeah.
Well, play Kyle Robinson's post-game audio now. We usually do both coaches, but for some reason DC didn't have Ben Olsen's audio up.
Too busy celebrating.
Probably.
Yeah.
Or repairing the stadium, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe a railing hit the recording device.
I heard they're getting all the supporters in there to help.
Oh, possibly, yeah. Cause
just like we replaced the pitch in RSL.
They're really good with the support out there in DC from what I've been reading. Robbo only spoke for 90 seconds. 2 questions. Let's just play it.
Yeah, I thought something was wrong. Sorry, I thought something was wrong in your article. I was like, what happened? Where's the rest of it?
No, let's hear it.
Well, I think the game had a little bit of everything. We knew it would be an emotional occasion, especially for DC United, a momentous occasion. Sellout, first game at home, and you could see the crowd was very energetic. We come with the game plan. I think the first goal was always going to be key. Obviously, they got a goal, a wonder strike from outside the box, which is probably fitting for the opening of the new stadium. And we had a couple of chances to get back into it. Unfortunately, we weren't able to take them. Then they get the second and third. I'm disappointed we can see 2 goals from well outside the box, which is not very good. And that's little details that we need to improve on. And we kept going. We got the goal at the end, but there was a few players that were slightly off it today.
Absolutely. And can you just talk about Alphonso Davies' strike at the end of the game? I know it was a consolation goal, but it was one great strike.
Well, I think we deserved, if you look at the set pieces we had, I think we had a number of chances. We hit the bar, we hit the post, and I think it was just reward that we got, a goal out the game. I'm disappointed we conceded 3, but, another day it could have been quite easily 3-3. So it was a wonderful strike from the young boy. He kept going, the team kept going, which is credit to them as well. But we need to tidy up on the areas of individual defending, because if we don't and we let good players, Areola was arguably the best player on the pitch today, and if we let good players shoot from distance, then that's what they'll do.
So Carl Robinson there, not saying too much. I think describing the performance as some players were slightly off it is maybe a little bit of an understatement, but there were so many questions that could have been asked after that game, but the problem is there's no travelling media anymore. So you're just relying on whoever the Caps have there to ask the question. So they're not going to put him on the spot and ask him difficult stuff. And then he's away for the whole week. So no one's going to get to really speak to him until after the Seattle game. We got a tweet in from Greg Petrie at Our Dumb World who said, Robinson isn't all to blame for the Whitecaps, but that doesn't absolve him of blame for failing to learn from past mistakes. If the players aren't getting it done, he doesn't owe it to them every game to give them the 60th minute, for instance. Now, we didn't do player rankings again this week.
Yeah, it's the World Cup break.
Yeah, that's what we decided.
Wait, does that mean we're going to have a shocker of ratings after 1 week later?
I did say to Steve this was going to be an impossible week to try and actually do any ratings in. And
it was a sunny day, so I decided not to then.
Yeah, so We'll look at the who scored ratings very quickly just to kind of round off this section. Just get them back up here. Alphonso Davies, top, 7.55.
Well, that's because of the goal and probably his dribbling.
I was quite surprised.
Is dribbling on the goal?
Yeah, on the goal.
By who was rated 2, 3, and 4. 2 was Kai Kamara.
Make us guess it or something.
No, we run out of time. 3 was Jordi Reyna.
Yeah.
4 was Jordan Much. I didn't feel had much of an, no pun intended, have much of an input into the game. And then Marcel de Jong was 5th. I actually thought Efi Juarez was probably my man of the match because he had a little bit of fight and bite about him. He was 7th in the who scored rankings with a 6.53 rating. What about you guys? I mean, did anyone stand out for you?
Alphonso Davies.
Yeah.
Anyone apart from Alphonso stand out for you?
I agree with a little bit with Kamara. Although he didn't really set up. He was running.
Well, he hit the woodwork, right?
Hit the woodwork, and So I think he did show something up top, and also he was very good in consoling Alphonso Davies after the goal. So that's probably some points there.
Yeah.
Wait, no dance though, right?
No dance.
Let's talk about Fonzie's goal. Well, nice way to finish this part, I think.
He's getting superstar treatment on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean he had 4 players around him. Beautiful footwork to make himself some room and a lovely finish.
That's $25 million transfer fee goal there.
Ka-ching! It just keeps rising.
I forgot to ask, have we got confirmation on his current contract status?
No.
We need to get that.
We'll see what happens with it anyway. So that is it for this part of the broadcast. We'll be back with more after this.
Hi, I'm Alphonso Davies, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
DC Comics and chocolate milkshake. Some things will always be great. DC Comics and chocolate milkshake. Even though I'm 28. DC Comics and chocolate milkshake. I guess I'm just developing late. DC Comics and chocolate milkshake. I never got over that amazing taste.
Art Brute there. DC Comics. Were the Whitecaps comical in
Well,
DC?
kind of, yeah. But they've never had that much luck against DC United anyways.
We had a 4-0 hammering there once, so I mean that wasn't great.
End of Jane Ollie, essentially that game, I think it was.
Yeah.
Not in life, but as a Whitecap.
There was a big debut, of course, in the match. Wayne Rooney came on as a sub for Darren Mattocks.
Very cordial with Carl Robinson.
Spoiling, though, the Mattocks-Rooney partnership that we were just so badly wanting to see.
So I guess they're not going to be together then. They're going to be playing.
I don't know. Depends what system they want to play. But yeah, Robbo was joking with Rooney before he came on, and then shook his hand before he came onto the pitch, which I know he knows him, and he's just being cordial and welcoming him to MLS.
I missed this. Like I honestly missed this on the thing. Did he walk over and say hello? Oh, so
he walked out of his technical area.
Oh, okay.
And shook his hand before.
Why not do it after the game?
I do not remember seeing an opposition coach shaking a player's hand as he's about to go on the pitch to play against your team. And I know that it's nothing to it, and you just maybe we're building things up out of nothing. But the optics were terrible.
I think it was I think I remember seeing something Ronaldinho at one of the tournaments. It was Champions Cup or whatever. The World, the World League,
the summer
Cup
thing.
Yeah, the one where all the champions from each confederation go. What's that one called?
The Confederations Cup.
Confederation. No, the one where Michael's completely distracted right now.
Just waving to a couple of very attractive young ladies that were standing watching us through the window.
No, the one where the leagues, the champions of each league, the Champions League,
the Club World Cup.
Club World Cup. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
So Ronaldinho went to that one. I think the coach, and then obviously Ronaldinho was stripped of his clothing after the game by the other team as well. I remember that.
But it's bad.
What do you think about a nice team?
No matter what, it's like bad optics. And
is it really that bad?
I think
in one sense it's like, hey, I know this guy.
I can understand after the game, but before the game, when he's coming on.
Okay, I'll say to you, sure, I can understand how people would say it's not ideal, but it's also not the end of the world.
No, I know. That's why I'm saying we're probably building it up into nothing. It just really pissed me off.
because they weren't playing that well.
Remember
at
that time we lost in Philadelphia and Jordan Harvey was smiling after the game? Or maybe it wasn't. It was whatever game we lost and Harvey was smiling. I was really pissed off because he looked so happy and we'd lost.
Right.
It's the little things that annoy me.
So he shook Shrek's hand. It's not the end of the world.
Who knows? Maybe he said, "You're going to fall on your ass and play really crap against us."
Yeah.
Let's hope it's that. But there was a lot made this morning of the fact that he was on TSN during the World Cup halftime. Now that I do think was ridiculous because it's the day off, and there's no way the Whitecaps lost that game on Saturday because Robbo was going to do TV on the Sunday, like some fans are trying to make it out to be.
That's ridiculous.
That isn't.
Plus, the team is on the way to Montreal anyways, right? So,
The pressure does feel like it is mounting because
honestly, the way the players are playing, I wouldn't. If I was Robbo, I wouldn't want to be traveling with him either. I would go somewhere else for a bit.
There's a lot of Will Parchman on Twitter was scathing about Robbo on Saturday night.
Yeah, who is that?
He's quite a well-known reporter.
Reporter of
MLS and other.
Like in the States?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Obviously he's not that well known. He writes for The Athletic.
Oh, yeah.
He's done stuff with Sounders before.
Well, then
what a Howler, Top Drawer Soccer.
Yes,
I think he's the guy that actually founded Top Drawer Soccer.
And he's a flounder. Okay, that's great.
Obviously,
so he didn't like what Robbo said, or Robbo shaking his hand.
He just doesn't like Robbo in general.
Okay, and he's a flounder.
He said,
read the tweet.
Let me read it.
Okay.
Defended Carl Robinson for a long time, but can't justify his existence in Vancouver anymore.
Existence.
You're not even being a manager, just his whole existence.
Yeah.
The fact that he's almost ignored one of the league's only European-style residencies is grounds for removal on its own. A number of top producer clubs in Europe give their coaches KPIs to play young players a certain percentage of overall minutes every year. That hasn't happened in Vancouver, and considering their pipeline, that is criminal. Like the worst case, some of the kids... Anyone that says like's not good, but anyway, the worst case, some of the kids aren't ready and you get carved a couple of times. Not like it isn't happening already. I would much rather get fired playing a 20-year-old than playing a 30-year-old, but here we are.
Okay, so one of the big problems with the residency is that you took away the in-between.
Yeah.
And that's that. So now, if you want to you want to try and blame Carl Robinson for not playing residency kids now, you need to blame the people who took away the in between.
No, that's bollocks.
No,
because he wasn't playing them while we had the in between. The clubs never played them in the whole time they've been in MLS. Philip Davies, Ben McKendry,
Marco Bustos,
Bryce Alderson, Marco Bustos
on the wing.
Rose.
Yeah, he played him on the wing though.
Yeah.
Even
if we had the WFC2 still, these guys still would not be getting played. That makes no difference whatsoever
in the first team. Okay,
yeah.
I can agree with you in one sense. I think the counter argument to that, which I'm not saying I'm for, but the counter argument to that is, which I've heard often, is they haven't been good enough.
Yeah.
So
are we not bringing in good enough talent, or where is it falling down then?
Well, the problem is one of the easily observable problems for me has always been that we can't get them past performing well at age level, so they can't make the transition.
They're great at youth, and
they're great when they
the adult game, which is what we've kind of seen.
Which is what WFC2 was supposed to help with.
Yeah, I've had some interesting chats with Colin at TSS Rovers, kind of regarding this whole thing, not just Whitecaps but Canadian players in general. There seems to be a big gulf for them as they move from being top dogs in the youth ranks to then moving into the adult game, and then they're playing against better players from elsewhere in the world, and it's like, oh yeah, these guys maybe aren't as good as we thought. But
it's weird. The harder thing to swallow is for me. One of the harder things about that was that it wasn't just they were just good as Whitecaps. Is a bunch of those guys were good for the Canadian national team, even in under 20 or under 17 World Cups.
Which we didn't qualify for most of. But anyway, where do the Whitecaps go from here? Transfer window's open.
Montreal.
Does bringing in new players help? Or are things too deep-rooted that we need a whole change of philosophy, a whole change of team again to get out of it? Russell Beresford, that squad player, had tweeted out this morning, or maybe it was last night, that he's he's kind of at the stage now that he kind of hopes the season crashes and burns because it might be the only way that we get a complete overhaul.
Or I guess, or even like them understanding that they're not that good.
Yeah.
Well, nothing's going to happen this mid-season. They've already said that. Like,
unless pressure maybe mounting.
Unless someone wants Breck Shea.
Yeah, I mean he's the big piece we have to move. And for me, Bernie Ibini as well, you have to feel is a guy that's days years unnumbered.
But even if they move Bernie, then they have what, 150?
Yeah, not a lot of money.
No, that's like again because they're not going to spend any more than that.
Yeah.
So
we never thought Debbie Flores would leave, and he left.
Yes.
So maybe it's possible.
Yeah, there is roster spots.
Yeah, there's definitely roster spots.
Well, he was loaned out, so
there was a deleted tweet as well. I don't know who tweeted it, but then it was quickly deleted that Michael Baldissimo has signed a homegrown deal. So that could be getting announced for homegrown spot.
Who tweeted it?
I don't know.
Oh,
he was number one on our
because someone
list.
retweeted it and then it was all gone. And yes, he's been number one the last 2 years in our ones to watch. And with the under 23 squad, which I was talking about getting put together, that obviously makes sense for him. So that's maybe one of the roster spots. I wouldn't be surprised to see Theo Bair get a deal as well.
Yeah. Very possible.
None of that's going to help our first team right now, though. That's the big problem. The games are coming thick and fast. The season could be over by the end of the month, and that's not even exaggerating. Mathematically, of course not, but mentally, it could feel that the season is over. We've got Montreal midweek in the Voyageurs Cup, then Seattle, Montreal's second leg, then Minnesota, who are now 4 points behind us with a game in hand. That's just ridiculous that we've let ourselves get into that position.
but is it though? They brought in DP in Quintero. Didn't they just brought in another DP? Minnesota did.
Yeah, but they're still a poor team. One player can't carry a team, which Quintero's tried his best.
Quintero's done it in a number of games.
Yeah.
I think it would be unfair to say he's done it consistently.
No.
But he almost single-handedly beat Toronto.
But even if we get through this spell...
Yeah, you have so many away games. New York
August
City
looks horrific. New York City away, then Portland away, back-to-back. Then you've got...
the Jesse Marshalless Red Bulls.
Red Bulls at home.
Dead Bull.
Then we've got a couple of games against San Jose, which you feel should be 6 points, but
you
the
never
way
know.
that things have gone, I don't feel anything's guaranteed
Do you
anymore.
guys think because of that, the Canadian Championship is even more, getting the Voyageurs Cup is very important so that they can actually have something to hang their hat on, that they won some silverware this year?
Could be our only chance of success. And I know you put high stock in it anyway, but you have got to be honest, the Whitecaps haven't in the past. But...
well, it seems like
they didn't last year. No.
He seems like he's going to play some young players, though. He's going to change the rotation.
The difference is the second leg is at home, and they don't want to be embarrassed at home.
No,
they don't want to go out at home.
So we're looking at 7 defenders.
They have taken their full squad with them as well.
Yeah.
And we don't know if there's other bit players.
Minus Davy Flores.
Well, he's no longer a member. Yeah. For me, it is an important competition and I want us to do well. We're now going to play a Montreal team, though, who have hit form.
Yes.
They've got
definitely.
5 wins in the last 6 matches. All of those
Who would have
wins
thought?
have been by at least 2 goals.
They just
And
beat
4
San
of them-
Jose.
4 of them is clean sheets.
Yeah, they just beat San Jose 2-0 too.
Yeah, which at least helped us, although San Jose's out of the playoffs, so it doesn't really help us. But I don't think we're going to obviously play their full-strength team. I think we're not going to play their full-strength team, but
they might sprinkle in some veterans.
Yeah.
They played at home or they played in San Jose? I can't remember.
they were at home, I think.
So that might be even more. They
Yeah.
don't have to travel.
Who do you think Montreal will put out? Do you think it's going to be a mix? Do you think it's mostly going to be fringe?
Well, it's Remy Gard's first Voyageurs Cup match, so it might be a little bit hard to say. But yeah, if things go as they have in the past, I would expect kind of like a 50-50, a half and half.
What about us then? I think Marinovic looks like he's going to be a guy to play, but we'll break down the individual players in a sec.
This is what I'll say about the Montreal away Voyageurs Cup leg. I would expect the away starting 11 to be with more people who haven't played as much, and I would expect the home leg to have more of a we need to win this.
I think we're going to get the spiel from Robbo of I'm going to put out a side that's capable of getting a result.
Yeah.
That's
Fresh legs.
One for a bingo card.
Fresh legs.
Before we kind of think who might go in, I'm going to play a little bit of audio from Bobby Lenarduzzi. This is from way back in March, where he was actually asked back then about the Voyageurs Cup and whether the Whitecaps were going to take it seriously. So here's what he had to say about that.
With the Voyageurs Cup being the only route to the Champions League, are you going to put more emphasis on that?
By that you mean?
A stronger squad, really going for qualifying for the Champions League again,
right,
and get into...
Yeah, no, we appreciate even more so the significance of winning the Voyageurs Cup, and for us, finishing in the top 4 in CONCACAF was something that we're very proud of. So I think what we'll do is we'll look at how the season's going, and I think I can tell you that we want to win the Voyageurs Cup, so that's something that we'll put an emphasis on, but we're a little bit away from it just yet.
So Bobby there saying that Whitecaps want to get back to the Champions League. This is the only way that they are going to be able to get back into it.
Was that convincing for you?
Now, remember, this is obviously...
Well, that was back in March.
That was back in March.
He did say it depends how the season is going at the time,
right,
which was an interesting turn of phrase. I think we can say right now the season's going to shit, so...
It becomes more important.
I feel it has to.
Because optics are very important to them. And so if you can hold up...
As our season ticket renewals.
Exactly. So if you can do well in the Voyageurs Cup, if you can win the Voyageurs Cup in mid-August...
Right before the season ticket...
Season ticket renewal is like August 15th. It starts and goes for, I think it's a month or whatever. That would be significant for them.
Totally.
So let me put it this way. It would not be the only time I've heard of the football committee reminding everyone about how significant it is to advance to the final of the Voyageurs Cup and or do well in the Voyageurs Cup.
Because you get money.
So,
yeah, or you don't lose money.
Yeah,
I thought Sean Melvin would start in goal, but I think it looks like it's going to be Marinovic now because they have to get him some minutes.
Is it the homegrown game or
who's in the back line?
Nerwinski and Levi's would be the fullbacks. I think the fact that neither of them played.
I think Levi for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't think
Nerwinski played, didn't he?
No, Franklin was in.
No, Nerwinski came on for him, though, right?
Yeah, but he didn't start.
Right.
Okay, who's your middle? Do you think Waston comes back for that?
If Waston's fit, I think he's back.
Yeah.
But you risk him ahead of Seattle away.
Yeah, I think you have to because you have to see if he's got.
It's
his
a cup
legs.
game, man. Cup game.
I mean, I'd be happy for him to play. Don't get me wrong.
I just think you have to get him up to match fitness. I forgot about Aaron Mond. I was thinking Ali Gazal.
Kendall and Aaron
Mond,
okay, so say Kendall can't go. Do you think it's Daniel Henry and Aaron Mond instead?
I think if Kendall can't go, I think we'll see Ali Gazal.
No. Please no. Oh man, are you serious?
I could see that.
Is that why you think he was a substitution late?
That's nothing against Ali Gazal. That's saying we have these other center backs. Let's play one. Let's put Daniel Henry in the Voyageurs Cup.
Yeah, but let's say
he knows how to win it.
Let's say
he's won it.
So let's say Waston can't go.
How many of these players have
Seattle?
won it?
Do you want to risk Henry or Aha in a midweek game that could then rule them out for Seattle?
One, yeah.
Henry would make sense because he is Canadian.
Because then you play Mond with Aha.
Yeah. Midfield, do we see David Norman Jr.?
That would be great.
I think we have to.
But who's his partner? Partners.
Depends what formation they go with, but maybe Gazal.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think he's single still, but whatever.
Teixeira should come back.
Yeah, non-league game.
His suspensions should be fine.
He's not. Playing away from home is not his favorite.
But it's grass.
But it's in Canada, so it's not really away from home.
Grass, right.
Mosqueda?
Do you think Breck Shea comes in?
I think, yeah. Big cup game. You have to play your DP.
Yeah.
We might even see Simon Coline coming off the bench, getting his first team debut.
And if Baldissimo signed, maybe we see him on the bench. Maybe he makes
maybe that'll be the big announcement before the actual game. Yeah. Blundell will start up top. For me, it's whether we see Meyer Bevan beside him in a 4-4-2.
I say why not? Because Meyer Bevan, while he can play up top, he can also slip back a little bit into midfield too. Not obviously the greatest,
the wing a little bit
and the wing as well. Yeah.
How many goals did he score in his loan spell?
2, I think.
And how many games?
A lot.
But did he come on?
More than 2.
Did he come on as a sub, or was he mostly, or was he a starter in those games?
He was starter for most of them. Quick predictions then. Do you think, just for this one leg, do you think we'll get a result?
I think a draw at the best.
Well, that's the result.
I think we'll get a goal, but I think we'll be leaving with a 1-goal deficit. So I'm going to say 2-1 Montreal.
I could see that.
I say 1-1.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
We'll just kind of round off this section with a quick MLS roundup, and I'm just really going to rattle through a lot of this.
Red Bulls, Kansas City, first of all.
Yes. Entertaining match. Red Bull sub Mark.
Rosowski.
He was the hero. 2 latest goals. Gave New York Red Bulls a come from behind win. Great. Took points off SKC. Doesn't really matter much to us right now.
But Galaxy, this is one that
the Galaxy game hurt us. 3-2 win for the Galaxy. I watched the highlights of that, and it was a bizarre game.
Was it stoppage time, both of them?
Yeah, 92nd and 93rd minute. 4 of the 5 goals came from the team that was down a man, because both players had a guy sent off. So 4 of the goals were by 10-man team. Pinilla was sent off for the Revs in the 23rd minute, and Ashley Cole for an absolutely ridiculous second booking in the 85th. But Zlatan didn't play because the official reason was turf and long travel.
It is long.
They named turf.
Yeah. Not going to be seen here ever, clearly then, unless it's a vital playoff game, perhaps.
Oh, it's also it's an East Coast game. Maybe they didn't mark it that highly. Yeah. Now, okay, then we got Dallas. They're obviously not at this point falling off. They're still winning games, and they were beating Chicago.
First.
Yeah,
easy, comfortable 3-1 winners over Chicago. Mini RSL. Yeah. Now, this did provide one of the highlights.
I have not watched it yet. I've heard so much about it. I have not watched it yet.
Well, we have the
Are we going to play
it?
Oh, sweet.
So, Mini beat RSL 3-2. Mini had a 3-goal lead, which they nearly blew. João Plata hit a couple of 2 second-half goals. Mike Petke was not happy with the refereeing at all. He kind of blew a gasket after the game. And we've put a little bit of something special for
anything to do with the printers?
No printers.
No printers, okay.
Now, I put a little bit extra music to go with the actual words.
Yeah, there's something I want to add. I was hoping you guys would ask. You didn't ask, and I kind of went with it, said maybe that's the best for it. But why did I get kicked out tonight? Why did I get kicked out tonight? I mean, you look at the 20th minute, which I checked at halftime. Schuler goes in on a Danny Acosta who's in behind the midfield line, studs up a foot off the ground, stud showing into his leg. If he is a foot to the left of Danny, face on, he breaks his leg. There's none of this crap that the referees do to the VAR, no looking at VAR or nothing. It's a yellow card. Marcelo gets a yellow card, 12 minutes later for toe poking the ball during a set piece 15 yards away? I mean, what are we doing here? Quintero in the goal doesn't look at Justin. I mean, doesn't look at the ball. Plays literally not the ball, runs in, extends his arm, looks at it the last second, and they score. And it's this crap again. The conversation from Alan Kelly, let me tell you something. The conversations with the 4th official over the last 4 games was 3 games ago, Jefferson Savarino's being targeted. Know what the 4th official says to me? Yeah, I know. We talked about it. We've watched it. We're good. And continuous fouls. Nothing. I don't want to talk about the last 4 games, though. I want to talk about tonight. Because up until that point, we had more shots leading into the second half. We were blocked up. We were good denying anything. And it's just, it's not good enough. And then I get from the only thing I get from MLS is stop criticizing referees. I want to know where the referees are right now. Why can't we ask the referee a question? Why can't we do that? Why can't we ask, why didn't you go to VAR? Why didn't you call that? Why, when the studs are coming up, you just give a yellow card? That would make them more human. It would be better to MLS. It would be better for this league, for the fans, for the owners, for the coaches, for the players, to hear from them and to hear their side of the story. And perhaps then we say, okay, I see it. Maybe it happened a little fast. Maybe the guy in the booth, wherever the hell he is, watching this, maybe he was watching The Simpsons at the same time. I don't know. I have no idea. But it's not good enough to me. And I'll take the fine. Jeff Agus, fine me. Fine me. I don't care anymore. Nobody else, no other coach in this league steps up a little more than they should. I'm going to. So drain my bank account. I don't give a shit anymore. Okay?
Applause here in the studio as well.
Deserved.
I freaking love Mike Petke. Even when he doesn't have slides and the printer is still working, he is quality. That I can't decide if I like that more than the whole printer thing. Just because
that was better. That was way better.
The fact that he's like, okay, I was wanting you to ask me about this. You haven't. I'm just going to talk about it anyway.
Yeah, no.
Well, they said, did you want to add anything else? That's what the last question was too.
No, that was. You need people to speak up, speak the truth, and like none of this. There was talk
on the Southsiders forum of like doing a GoFundMe to put money in to pay for his fine. I would chip into that.
Well, that's Rodgers mentioned it. Rodgers is just like, hey, let's get a thing around the league, because if MLS sees that everyone around the league will pay this guy's fine, whatever it is, however big or however
they'll
small.
just raise the fine so they can get more money.
No, but it will send a statement that like, look, the supporters, the fans won't put up with this poor officiating, and MLS has poor officiating.
Oh, it does.
Like, it's not
even at VAR level.
Yes. For the most part,
VAR on the most part good.
Yeah.
MLS VAR
very poor.
Different world.
Yeah, very poor. It's like,
although better than how it worked in England, but still.
Yeah.
So let's get to the other games. Orlando. TFC.
Jeff Agus is he's former American international. He is the VP of competitions for MLS.
Oh, so he's the guy that does all.
That's who's going to be draining.
And Robo has spoken up as well, so it isn't just Petke that.
No, there have been other ones,
but he hasn't used expletives or said drain my bank account.
I would love him to though. Anyone that swears goes up in my book. I was swearing watching the highlights of Colorado-Houston. That was boring as hell. So let's just quickly move on. That was 0-0. At least it was good that Houston
clean sheet for Tim
points.
Howard.
Yeah.
Well, you wanted to have a laugh at. It's not a Western Conference game, but you wanted to have a laugh at.
Orlando, yes,
TFC.
Orlando and TFC.
Oh
yeah.
man.
I just wanted to laugh at TFC there.
Okay, so Atlanta, Seattle.
No.
Okay.
Can Ottawa beat TFC?
Yes, they can.
Is that just too? I mean, TFC. I don't think they'll risk their
because I think the TFC will want to not risk, because I believe they think they can still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they probably could.
You have to believe that.
Yeah, they're 11 points though off Montreal.
Yeah,
they've got 2 games in hand.
Yeah.
But that I mean, the whole time I've said I think they can.
Yeah.
That gap is
getting wider
now.
Yeah.
But 11 points in MLS, that's 4 games.
Yeah.
You could literally...
It could turn around.
But there's so many teams above them. That's now what the problem is. That you're relying on all these teams to drop points, and that's just simply not going to happen when it's East v East. So teams are going to pick points up.
So speaking of drop points, 2 games today.
Eastern teams.
2 games today. Seattle, Atlanta, 1-1.
I watched the second half of the second half live, and then... watched a bit of the
I didn't
highlights.
watch the Seattle game. I watched most of the Portland.
Yeah, I watched the second half of that as well, but Sounders were lucky. Obviously, we play them next Saturday. They've started to improve. They've started to get the odd result here and there.
But giving up 19 shots to Atlanta.
Yeah.
19.
But they only let in 1 goal. Fry was outstanding for them. He's been outstanding in a few games recently. I already feel that's a narrative coming out of the game next Saturday.
Do they have a midweek cup match? Because I know Portland has, or they. I haven't been following the US Open Cup.
Oh, I didn't even know that was midweek for them.
Because Portland plays in LA in the cup in the midweek.
Oh, I don't know. Record crowd though for Atlanta, 72,243.
How'd they get more people? They open up more seats because I thought they sold out last year.
I think it was like Russia. They just had these folks sitting on the outside. Maybe not. But the last game of the weekend, it was another 0-0. LAFC in Portland. It was a good match though. It was entertaining, even though there was no goals.
It wasn't bad.
Watching it though, maybe it's just because I was in a downer after yesterday, but I just feel the Caps are not at the level of some of these teams. Maybe if they're playing, all the players are playing at their peak, they are.
Because you saw them yesterday not play at their levels, and you saw teams where there was a little bit more clicking in terms of being...
They can rarely fire on all cylinders all the time. That's the problem. And like these teams, when they have an off day, other players step up. When our key guys, Kamara, Davies, Reyna, have an off day, no one seems to step up. But that is it for the Whitecaps chat anyway. We're going to be back in part 3 with a look at the brilliant World Cup.
Hey, it's Ivan Runovic and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
From Russia with love, I fly to you, much wiser since my goodbye to you. I've traveled the world return from Russia with love.
From Russia with love.
We're off.
I don't know what Zach's pointing at. He thinks our mics are off, but he's just turned the sound on his headphones down.
No, it's because I don't have the silver thing.
The tip. Yeah.
Sorry, I thought it's red, so I thought it was off for a second. Sorry.
Anyway, you're back listening to the AFT
From Russia with
Show.
Love.
Yes, on CITR Radio. Going to talk World Cup in this part. It's over for another 4 years.
It's going to be tough
to...
It's
four and a half.
Yeah, to 4.5, that's right.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to get through the summer.
I know. I
watching
don't know
MLS.
how I'm meant to go to work with no football to watch.
Oh, yeah, especially the mornings.
Yeah.
And maybe the mornings go well, you know, there was something on, actually.
I've loved it. 64 matches, 169 goals.
That's a lot.
2.64 per game. Too short of tying the all-time record of 171. Thought we were going to get it in the final today, the way the teams were going. 12 own goals, which was a record, and also won the Golden Boot. Yep.
Did it actually win the Golden Boot? Did they give it to the own
goals?
No,
Owen Goal, the Irish guy, he won the Golden Boot. Previous record was 6 in 98, so they doubled the own goals. Now,
the last time France won.
I don't know what you even put that down to. That's just bizarre, the amount of own
Well,
goals.
the packed penalty areas with everyone defending so tight.
There was a lot of set-piece goals as well, so maybe it's just all coming from set-pieces.
A number of the own goals were, or at least some of them were on set-pieces.
Yeah. 29 penalties awarded, 22 of them were scored, including one today, 76%. Messi and Ronaldo were two of the players that missed penalties, so that was fun. France led the tournament with 4 clean sheets.
And a dodgy keeper.
Yeah. Quite amazing, really. I mean, your thoughts on the overall tournament? We talked about it a few weeks back, about where we thought it maybe ranked overall and some of our favourites. Where does it rank for you now that it's finished?
Very low.
Only because Germany
says. It says the German and Costa Rican supporter.
Yeah. No.
Oh, by the way, I meant to mention at the start, Joe Deasy's son Declan actually scored more points than you in the AFTN World Cup draft.
Wait, what was the final? What was the final?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. I forgot. I didn't have a chance to tweet it out today. You did win, Michael.
Oh.
And what was the difference between our show and the?
Oh, we got 195 points. They got 141 points.
So you're 9 points that you. We got 191.
195.
195, and he scored 9 of those.
Yeah. I was second.
Well, if you guys had more fully explained,
me and you got a combined 186 points.
I don't know if you heard me on CBC on Friday, Zach.
Oh, I haven't listened to it. I saw you post it.
Yeah, they asked what my tips were for picking in World Cup pools, and I said, pick with your head, not your heart. And I was wanting to expand into explaining about you, but I thought they're probably not going to care.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, hey, thanks for being my friends.
Thanks for helping us over the line.
I'm just glad my preseason pick actually won for once.
Yeah, you got the overall winner. I got second and third, so
yeah.
I'm quite chuffed with that.
I got group
stage.
Bottom of the group stage.
Oh.
I think three or four.
You had 5 teams and none of them made the knockout stage.
I know, but 3 or 4 of them came bottom of their group.
I had Saudi Arabia and Panama,
and they got points
scored
for you.
more points than
Well, Saudi Arabia scored as many points as Germany.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, 3 points.
3 each.
Okay, let's get to the actual
tournament.
Totally.
What did I think of the tournament? It was
it's right up there in the top 3 for me, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That I've watched.
Yeah, obviously it's tainted for me.
Yeah.
But it was pretty good. It would have been for me, because for me, even in I guess France was good, but they weren't dominant, right?
No,
they weren't like.
It was good that there was no one that was dominant because you didn't know who was going to win it. You didn't know who was going to get to the final.
The thing is, out of all the teams, France knew how they needed to play, and they played exactly that way.
They seemed to find a spurt when they needed it against Argentina today against Croatia.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. You look Croatia dominated Argentina. Croatia
dominated
their group, really, right?
Yeah.
France wasn't overwhelming.
They were ratcheting up basically. And the thing is, if we'll talk about today's game. The thing is, Croatia in the knockout stages, they played an extra game. Because they had
Yeah.
three go to extra time. That's 30 minutes each. That's 90 minutes right there.
We talked last week that they looked dead on their feet.
I didn't think they were going to beat England, and they surprised with that.
Oh, we knew they were going to beat England.
Well, no, you guys wanted them to beat England.
Well,
can
I just thank everyone that sent messages inquiring how my asshole was after that game? It was fine.
No, a question for you though: if the England national team supported Scottish independence, would you support them?
Oh.
No.
Oh, okay. Still no?
I bet you a bunch of them do support that. Yeah, no, but I don't know. I would have felt better if Croatia had won.
I love the surprise.
I agree with that. I would even have given up my pick to see Croatia win because I wanted to see somebody different win. Although France has only won it once before, it's still nice to see somebody different win, especially such a small country.
Well, I thought it was a good final. I mean, it was either going to be cagey with neither.
I'm glad it turned out this way instead of
it could have been Denmark, France.
Yeah, that would have been horrible.
Okay, so we're going to talk about today.
Yeah,
those first two goals for France to me, I don't think the first one to me was not a foul, was not a free kick that should not have been given. I didn't think the ref was great today.
No.
And then
I feel so sorry for Mandzukic.
Yeah. Because you love him because he scored against England.
Yes.
But no, and then so they had previously in the tournament, I think they talked about this in broadcast or whatever today, but previously in the tournament, they had set kind of the standard for VAR really high.
Yeah.
Like it has to be clear and obvious.
Yeah.
And to me, the ball to hand to ball on Perisic for the second French goal was not clear and obvious. To me, I think you can argue either way that his hand is in a natural position.
Yeah.
Matuidi misses the header and he has no chance to move his arm.
So if you can argue either way,
then
it shouldn't have been reviewed.
It should. It should be looked at by the guys in the room.
Yeah, they should.
But they should not have called the referee over because by doing that, they were saying you got it wrong. You need to look at it.
No, and I do think that this referee, if he had seen it while it was playing, I think he would have called a penalty. I think he would have called a penalty if he had seen it.
Maybe because he gave a free kick for that pseudo foul on Griezmann.
I know you don't think the ref had a good game today. I felt for him though making that decision because whatever decision he made, someone was going to go after him for it.
So ultimately, I think it was the people in the booth in Moscow.
They hung him out.
They did not do their job.
Because they
did not live out their mandate.
Then he walked away, and then he goes back, and you know he's playing it over in his head. It's like, oh, should I give this? Should I not? If I give it, and it's a big turning point, then the Croatia fans will crucify me. If I don't give it, and it's a turning point, the French fans will crucify me.
So maybe he's like, do I want to go to Paris or Split next?
Yeah.
He chose Paris.
Yeah. I've been to Paris, been to Dubrovnik, preferred Dubrovnik.
Dubrovnik, yeah. So I felt France was very fortunate on those two goals. However, their other goals were full value for them.
Yeah.
And if their keeper wasn't so dodgy, they would have only let in one goal.
It was entertaining. That was a horrific.
Yeah. The Croatia goal was great. The opening Croatia goal was great.
Yeah. Great to see Canada represented at the final as well.
You talking about the flag?
Oh, no, there was a flag behind the goal. I was meaning BC Place Security were clearly...
That was...
Pussy Riot.
Yeah.
Love me some Pussy Riot. Yep. When they ran on the pitch, I'm saying to Caitlin, they're wearing some kind of like police or army uniforms. It's really weird. And then they had worn police uniforms from a picture of a guy that was murdered 11 years ago, an artist and writer and stuff.
Yeah.
But... Because initially, before I knew it was that, I'm saying to my wife, why would you spend all that money and then get kicked out at the start of the second half?
They were protesting.
They were probably snuck in. They could have been snuck in too. No, they could. Somebody
knows, but,
you never know.
Actually, maybe you're right, Steve. Yeah. Maybe they had to go to disguise because the security might have been told, watch out for these people.
I would not have liked to have been them in the aftermath away from the cameras. I don't think that will have gone well for them.
But there's such public figures there that can they be that?
Well, they've been put in prison already, so
right. But put in prison is one thing, but yeah, roughed up really bad is another.
France, for me, I mean, were they worthy winners on the day?
On the day, I say they were. I gave 60-40 for the day, but I say overall for the tournament because they were solid all the way through. They weren't, like you said, they weren't dominant, but they were solid. compared to other teams, I'd say they were about 70% worthy through the whole tournament.
I thought Belgium were more worthy, but
They didn't beat
Belgium
France.
couldn't beat France. So ultimately, that's what it
That
all
was one of the
boils
most
down to.
disappointing games of the tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, I are they worthy? Sure. They won on the day. I probably there's probably other teams that would have been more disappointed had they won. So in that sense, it's not the end of the world. The one thing I appreciated, because I had some French friends message me, of course, and so the one thing I was really happy to point out is, like, at least the score line can always remind you of how many World Cups Germany has and how many France has.
And we were going to talk anyway about the multiculturalism of the French team, but we got a good tweet from John O'Flynn at John O'Fly on Twitter, who said Cameroon, Angola, Nigeria, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Mali, Guinea and Senegal, all represented by this French team.
By birth, right?
Yeah, I'd read it was 16, but he's got a list of 15 here. 15 or 16 anyway.
Well, it could have been two from one.
Yeah, it could be. 15 or 16 of the players were immigrants to the country, some of them quite recent as well. And it shows you how multiculturalism can help teams and can help countries, and it's not bad as people are always wanting to point out. Thankfully, there wasn't any violence in France. They were a bit worried that there might be a terrorist attack with so many people yesterday and today and last week for the celebrations as well. Didier Deschamps, winner in 98, and now a manager winner in 2018, so that's a nice story.
Follows in the footsteps of Franz Beckenbauer and Mario Zagallo.
And Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah, breakthrough tournament. Could be, depending on if he keeps rising. It doesn't read the headlines.
Obviously, there's a lot of pressure on him. I think the commentator said something about he has to keep his feet in the ground.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's Alphonse he's talking about. How good is this kid going to be? He's 19. Are we going to talk... If he keeps the upward trajectory, and obviously it's easy to derail.
Yeah, he could make it to Alphonso Davies status.
You think?
Yeah, possible.
I'm not sure. Is he being protected?
So one of the things he has that it's hard to prepare for. You can't teach it. You have it or you don't. Is pace. He is so fast.
Yeah,
and he knows what to do with the ball most of the time.
Middle.
Yeah, and obviously he can finish.
Yeah.
Like, he's got skills as well. He's not just fast.
Are we going to talk about him in the same kind of things like Messi and Ronaldo in years to come?
So that's the thing, is you can lose pace. You can get kicked so many times. You can get injured and you lose that. So if that kind of stuff happens to him, then we'll see how deep his skills are, if you will. And that I think will be a determining factor in what his overall impact in the game long term is.
Yeah.
But you hope for the guy.
I agree with you.
Well.
He's a guy with pace. He can finish, and that's a deadly combination.
The other thing for him is where he's going to go and what he's going to do, right? Because he went from Monaco to PSG, and now there's
rumors that he's going to Real Madrid.
Yeah, Real wants to, he'll be Ronaldo's replacement for himself and whatever. So he's got some decisions to make. And that'll be interesting.
I think he should go to PSV Eindhoven just to help his development.
Well, how about the Croatian guys? A lot of them are older. Modric. I think Modric was one of the best players.
He won the Golden Ball, right?
He was mine as well.
He won the Golden Ball. Yeah,
he was the player of the tournament for me.
It rained really hard there. It was like the heavens opened up. And
tell you what, though, how long they kept those players on the pitch.
That's unbelievable.
Especially the Croatian players. They're heartbroken. They just want to get off that pitch, and you kept them hanging around forever. And then, the heavens opened, and it was like only Putin has an umbrella over him at first. Only Putin gets umbrella.
What they should do is allow these guys to just step off the pitch. They have a big staging area right there where they come out onto the pitch. Let them stand there for a bit while France celebrates. Why do they have to be? The point is I don't even care if they're watching them. Why do they have to keep putting the cameras on these guys while they're watching them? What do they expect to see?
Yeah, but I mean, end of an era for a lot of these Croatian guys, probably.
Yeah.
And
it took 20 years for them to replicate what happened in 98.
They didn't replicate. They did one better.
One better, you're right.
But that team in 98 felt like a team of the ages.
Yeah.
Oh, it did.
It's been a generation. You've got another
Balbin,
team.
Prosinecki, Schuker, yeah.
But we're going to have World Cup wavelength now. And we're going back to 1998. I just thought this was a nice little tie-in. It's an English World Cup song from 1998. It's by Grandad Roberts and his grandson Elvis. And this is Meat Pie, Sausage Roll.
Elvis,
The atmosphere's bobbing. Scrub that tambourine.
All right, Dad, let's kick a good beat.
Meat pie sausage roll. Come on, England, gives a go. Meat pie sausage roll. Come on, England, gives a go. Ooh, we got a corner. Ooh, we got a corner.
Down at some foreign ground, the England fans look around. All seems lost, the end seems nigh till a little old man starts to cry.
Meat pie sausage roll. Come on, England, gives a go. Meat pie sausage roll. Come on, England, gives a go. Ooh, we got a corner. Ooh, we got a corner.
A fight breaks out in the England den. A policeman comes to apprehend. Grandad tells him with a giggle, his meat pie's not cooked in the middle.
Meat pie sausage roll. Come on, England, gives a go. Meat pie sausage roll. Come on, England, gives a go. Ooh, we got a corner. Ooh, we got a corner.
The faithful fans let out a roar as England banging number 4. A little old man in a dirty Mac jumps up on a policeman's back.
Meat pie sausage roll. Come on, England, gives a go. Meat pie sausage roll. Come on, England, gives a go. Ooh, we got a corner. Ooh, we got a corner. Come on, Elvis, sing like a king.
Meat pie, sausage roll. Come on, England, give us a go. Meat pie, sausage roll. Come on, England, give us a go.
Ooh, we got a corner. Ooh, we got a corner. Meat pie, sausage roll. Come on, England, gives a go. Meat pie, sausage roll. Come on, England, gives a go. Meat pie, sausage roll. Come on, England, gives a go. Meat pie, sausage roll. Come on, England, gives a go. Meat pie, sausage roll. Come on, England, gives a go. Meat pie, sausage roll. Come on, England, gives a go. Why can't you just sing like the king?
It's not for once you tried, Dad.
No wonder that my weed smells of sugar puffs, the stress that I'm under. Quick, give us that gun. I'm gonna have to shoot that butcher.
Meat pie sausage roll by Grandad Roberts and his grandson.
We heard enough of
Elvis.
him saying it. We don't need you to repeat it.
Please don't repeat that.
I
ever
know
again.
that was an absolutely dreadful song, but I just wanted to
But
play
I chose to play it anyway.
Yeah, it's World Cup wavelength, man.
Wavelength, babe.
Next week.
I know I
it's
said
babe. Next week we're back to football violence month, so don't worry about that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You got more?
Oh, I have so many songs about football violence.
Wait, like ones we can actually play on the air?
I have some songs about football violence.
Okay, so let's do some World Cup rapid fire.
Yeah. Match of the tournament.
France, Argentina.
I still think Spain-Portugal might just nick it for me.
No, I'm going to go France because there was a winner. I'm going to go France, Argentina still.
Germany, Sweden.
It was the only one.
Player of the tournament.
Wait, no. Okay, no. Game of the tournament. I'll go Belgium, Japan.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
That was.
I was jumping about.
Yeah,
that
was a crazy turnaround.
I was speaking to. This was just before I had done. I just name dropping. I had done a show with Gloria Makarenko on CBC. The researcher was telling me Japan were winning, so they sent all these folk to some Japanese bar, and the time they got there, they just got in the door as Belgium scored the winner. So player of the tournament we kind of covered. Luka Modric for me.
I think it's Luka Modric. It's hard just to find it.
Antoine Griezmann made a good impact.
No way.
But he scored a lot of his from the penalties.
4 goals, 2 assists.
Three penalties and one dropped into the net by Muslera.
I think Mbappe was better than him, and I think even Conte, even though I was surprised he was subbed out after
Conte was the guy that made the French team tick for me.
Yeah.
I think he got subbed off because of that early yellow.
Was it?
I think Deschamps thought he was going to get.
He moved. Especially in the Belgium game, he made De Bruyne move all over the pitch.
Yeah,
like De Bruyne was sometimes in the middle, sometimes right, sometimes left because he was trying to get away from De Bruyne, whatever.
Yeah. Team of the tournament. Now it could be the one that gave you the most feels, as the kids say.
Team of the tournament,
yeah, or the best playing team, or whatever criteria you want to go for.
I still, even though they didn't even make the knockout stage, I loved Senegal the way they played.
Oh yeah,
I like the way they played.
If only they could have kept track of fair play points.
I enjoyed Belgium.
I don't think they were concerned about it during the games.
Yeah, I don't think that. It might next time round.
Yeah,
but Belgium,
keep your shirts on.
Belgium just sneaks it from Senegal for me.
Can you imagine they're going to have a fair play coach, assistant coaches.
It's hard not to think Belgium, Croatia. I think those two.
Yeah, very entertaining. How do you feel Russia worked out as hosts? I think they were pretty excellent.
They took care of the hooligans big time.
So, yeah, we talked about, was it last week or whenever? I can't remember. The weeks all blend together, but they were fine as hosts. I haven't heard of many problems.
No.
We talked about the Russia game when they got eliminated there. Just their atmosphere was kind of one note and one blend, one flavor of support that's not really my personal flavor of support.
Well, it was a bit like when the US hosted in '94, because I was at the US Switzerland game and they only had one song, USA. USA.
They only have but the other thing was that
rapid fire World Cup question.
I'm sorry. The other thing was, unlike the Euro in France 2 years ago, this is the other thing
which was dominated by Russians in the streets.
No. But sorry, in terms of the support, one of the things you saw there, and the associations helped make this happen there. But like they did displays. Like a number of countries did displays.
Yeah.
This one, there was only one. There's 2 things I can remember that were large scale. One was Russia's opening game. They allowed them to do like a Russian flag mosaic with a word banner, but it was so small. And then today there was a bit of a small overhead. I think it was with the French. I can't remember now. But so I was really disappointed in that aspect of things, especially as the World Cup will be coming here to Canada. And for me personally, one of the things I'm looking forward to the most is how can we, as Canadians, for the games that Canada is going to play, how can we visually support the Canadian team in ways that are special, maybe even unique, or at least meaningful? Because you got to cut through. There's a bunch of FIFA red tape you have to cut through.
That's 8 years away. I'll be too old to get a stick up.
Yeah, true.
And anyways,
even with medication.
So the Euro a couple years ago was encouraging because there were so many different types of displays done, and I'm just hoping that the CSA will be able to make it possible for us to do something significant when the World Cup's here.
I thought the stadiums were great because no railings that we know of fell on anyone. We're seeing more parity in the World Game. Previous powerhouses, let's pick Germany as an example.
Had an off tournament.
Aren't what they used to be.
Oh please, they had an off tournament.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Is it a blip?
Oh yeah,
and an off tournament, or is this a new world order that we're seeing?
No, it's for the World Cup. It's a blip. The thing for Germany will be they've kept Joachim Löw.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens at the Euro for him. Because
Love will tear you apart.
If the Euro doesn't go well, or he hasn't learned from some of the errors he's made and squad selection choices he made, if he hasn't learned from the Euro, he'll be done at the end of the Euro.
Well, the Nations Cup gets underway, I think, in 56 days, so that's the start of...
Well, I think France right now should fire their coach and retire half their players.
I was going to say, we should all go out and put money on France not getting out of the group at the next World Cup.
Every chance. Well, the next World Cup's Qatar, 2022.
Now it's 4.5 years, so maybe that 6 months makes a difference.
This is the longest break between World Cups.
We now know the dates.
Yeah.
All the games. So we had 64 games in this World Cup, assuming they don't increase to 48, which now seems...
ludicrous.
Yeah, because they're playing this tournament in 28 days.
Yeah, the shortest ever, I think.
Yeah.
For that long of a tournament.
You're going to have 4 games a day, I guess, in the group stages. That's the only way I can see it working. You have to give players time to recuperate. But I mean, everyone's talked about it's going to be a disaster. Folks said that about Russia, and it wasn't. Can Qatar 22 be a success?
It can. I mean, sorry. It's hard. I think for a number of people, it's going to be hard to call it a success when you know how many people died building these stadiums. No, seriously, like that. Like, it feels wrong in one sense, right?
It does. I still have this little thing that they're going to get it stripped from them. I don't know. Something's going to happen that they're going to get it stripped.
Which then also makes those deaths tragic in a different sense.
Yeah, it's even more tragic. But we're going to be back in part 4 talking about something way more happier, which was Canada in the 1986 World Cup. And we'll be back with that after this.
Hi, I'm Carl Valentine. You're listening to the AFTN podcast.
Vancouver band The Courtneys there. Great song. Lost Boys. Bit like the Whitecaps on some of these recent defeats. But we're not going to talk any more Whitecaps. We're going to continue a little bit of World Cup talk to kick off this section, but we're going way back in time to 1986. The one and only time that Canada made it to the big show. Mexico 86, Canada were there. But I had a great chat with Dale Mitchell, one of the players that was over in Mexico with Canada in 1986, armed, of course, with my trusty Panini album. We had a little look through it, pointing at folk how funny they look.
Because what's an interview without a Panini album?
Exactly.
I don't know how you're going to do it next in the future.
I don't know.
I was just messaging Dolly about your request for.
Awesome. That would be fantastic.
He's got to sort that out for you.
Brilliant. So we're going to hear now from Dale Mitchell.
1,000 to 1 are the odds they're giving us. A lot of them are in for a surprise. We've got a mighty team that no one else has seen. The stars of Canada are on the rise.
So Dale, we're just kind of looking at the squad of 86 just now. Does that bring back some fond memories for you?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it was a great time in our life. It was a good group of guys, very close-knit, similar backgrounds, most all of the players. Most of us were playing in North America, in the North American Soccer League. And I think that was a big key to the team qualifying, is that for maybe 4 or 5 years before qualifying, we were all playing in the NASL and getting a game regularly. We had a good Olympics in 84. I think that gave us some momentum going into the qualifying. And we took that into the qualifying, and it certainly wasn't easy. There was challenges along the way, like the NASL folding during the process of us qualifying, which was a big challenge. But we had enough to get it done. You know, with Tony was a great leader, and this is a really good group of guys that were all playing in similar environments. And yeah, the key is getting the results, and we were able to narrowly get the results that you need to get there.
That group, the 84 Olympic team, the 86 World Cup team, obviously it goes down as probably the best group of players in Canadian soccer, or at least with what they've achieved. Now, you've obviously then managed at national level as well. Do you feel that has been the best group of players, or have players since maybe just not been lucky or not got the breaks?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm always, if I get that question, I'm sort of, I'm kind of biased to this group of guys. But I also know that I had 6 goes, I think, at trying to qualify. 4 as a player, 1 as an assistant coach, and 1 as a head coach. And I know that there was a lot of good players in all of those teams. And it wasn't like we didn't have good teams either. The key is just getting the results. That's just the key. It sometimes comes down to little things. Sometimes you're lucky. And sometimes, you play well and you draw. Sometimes you play well and you lose by a goal. And those results aren't enough. You have to win matches. And that's what we've just not been able to do since. But obviously we're all optimistic about what could happen in the future.
Now, when you look at the 3 games, the close defeat, you held France 0-0 to solely on, and then 2-0 defeats in the last 2 games, and the Russia one is obviously kind of put paid to everything. But when you look back at that whole experience, what do you take from it? What's your favourite memories from it?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I think it becomes, once you're there, it becomes sort of your personal story. And I mean, there's certain guys played all 3 games. I had an injury just, about a year before the World Cup, and I was kind of in a race to get myself ready to play and get back to the form I was in, which was pretty good form in 84 and 85. So I only ended up playing in the final game. But I mean, the team we were close. I mean, the first game they scored, France scored pretty early. The second game was disappointing because unfortunately we had a player sent off pretty early in the game. And we actually saw Hungary get beat pretty badly by Russia in game 1. So, we felt like maybe we had a chance against those guys, and then we had somebody sent off, and then you're down to 10 players for probably, I don't know what it was, 60, 70 minutes or something. That game's gone, and as you go into the third, I mean, that's the way it is in a World Cup, and you have 2 games, and you lost both, then, it's the tournament's basically over for you.
When you think about, like, being in Mexico for that tournament, not so much the games that you played in, but the whole experience, what did you get much of a chance to explore the country, or what are your non-playing memories from that tournament?
Yeah, we were a little isolated because our group was, we were in 2 cities, Leon and Irapuato, so we weren't actually in Mexico City. Obviously, there was a lot of hype and interest around Mexico, and they were in Mexico City. Hugo Sanchez was their center forward. They had a very good World Cup. They had a very good team at that time. So that's where a lot of the hub was around Mexico City. We were a bit isolated, and so it maybe didn't have even the atmosphere of, say, like before we had been to Azteca for qualifiers. We've been to Azteca for qualifiers, and Jerry Gray scored against them when we were trying to qualify for the 82 World Cup in 1981 or 1980, I think it was, and there was 90,000 at Azteca. So we were a little bit isolated, and I'm sure that the way World Cups are now, that all cities would have a lot of the hype and pageantry around them that maybe we were missing a little bit back in 86.
Just the last thing, obviously you would never have expected this team to be the only Canadian team to have got there. You probably never expected Canada's going to be hosting a World Cup, which we are in 2026. What do you think that's going to do for the game here? This didn't maybe do for the game what people were hoping for. What's the chance for this World Cup that's coming up to do for the game?
Well, I look at it sort of, it'll be a great event, because we've shown before we can host great events. Under 20 World Cup, Women's World Cup, FIFA. I mean, part of the reason it's coming here to this part of the world is that FIFA know that in the U.S. and Canada and Mexico, they're going to do a great job of hosting it. I hope that it coincides with a successful launch of the CPL, because the thing that these guys here, when I look at that picture, all got was an opportunity to play in the NASL. And we got it because we played with a safety net. And that safety net was, you had to have 2 North Americans on the field. And at the time, we were as good as, I mean, if you look at the results in the 70s and 80s, we probably outperformed the U.S. So, I mean, some of these guys were playing, myself included, we were playing as North Americans in American cities. Some guys were playing in Portland, Chicago, Tampa, where, Ian Bridge was in Seattle. So, but we got a chance to play because you had to have 2 North Americans on the field. Even though it doesn't sound like a lot, most all of these guys benefited from that rule that is not in existence in MLS. You can, you have a quota of how many guys you can sign, but when it comes to actual playing time, it's a different ball game. And if you give any coach the opportunity, he's going to pick his best team no matter where the players come from. So I'm hopeful that the CPL is going to be about Canadian players. It's going to be about young Canadian coaches. And those guys getting the opportunity, it's going to help them to prepare and put a good show on when the World Cup comes here.
That's great. Thanks so much for your time, Taylor.
But who can lay down odds on the hearts of 11 men? Oh, Canada, our hearts are ringing true. We've won for you before and we'll win for you again.
was like a bonus wavelength for everyone, because that was Canada's 1986 World Cup song.
Hopefully it improves.
Yeah, hopefully the 40 years pass and the 2026 one will be a little bit better. Who knows? Get Arcade Fire to do it. That would be fantastic. But yeah, Dale Mitchell, they're talking about the World Cup memories from 1986. And it is weird looking through that Panini sticker album. I've talked about this before. It's like when I was a little kid collecting these stickers, and now I'm like regularly talking to a number of these guys. It's a bit
surreal, yeah.
Is it weird because he signed on 2 stickers?
Yeah. I'm starting a project.
He must have an issue with Paul Dolan then.
Possibly.
Beef.
Yeah, basically got Dale Mitchell to sign his sticker. And he signed over Paul Dolan's sticker as well. But I don't think there's any harm done. I think we can still get Doley underneath. But I'm wanting to do a kind of project where I speak to all the guys in the thing, get them to sign their sticker and then pose with it. So have that in time for the 2026 World Cup maybe. We'll see. But he did talk there about the importance of the Canadian PL and how this is a chance now to get these guys ready and regularly playing.
Oh, for sure.
But the interesting thing that I thought he said there was in the NASL days, Canadians could play in America as domestics.
Oh, yeah.
So all these guys were playing because you had to have...
This is a Garber made up.
You had to have a set number of North Americans playing. And we'll talk about the CPL in part 5, but there's going to be a quota for Canadians on the pitch in that as well. But we'll come to that in part 5, as I said. Quickly, just finish this section with a chat about TSS Rovers. They rounded up their PDL season on Wednesday night. I wore a lot of hats on Wednesday night.
I was going to say, highlight of the night from O'Flynn on Twitter, there was your...
PA announcing.
Your PA announcing, yeah.
I was doing the colour commentary,
yeah.
PA announcing, and because the PA announcer had bailed just before the game, they had no one to play music.
So you did Wavelength.
So we had Wavelength live at Swan Guard. That was a dream.
Did you announce it that way?
No.
Oh.
Sultan's a ping. Fly screen. I didn't have any Goldie looking chain on CD. I'm going to have to get that for next season.
On what?
On CD.
What's that?
It's like a compact disc.
Compact disc, isn't it?
Disc.
But the season itself.
Was Joe Deasy there?
Yes, that was pre-birth.
Oh, okay.
He's looking quite chubby, but I don't think he is as much now. But yeah, the season, they had a lot of firsts.
Yeah.
They set a points total.
Good stuff.
They did not make the playoffs.
But it was a good
Surely
step.
heads will roll at the organization.
Elm's out.
It was a good step forward, though, I thought.
It was, but it was...
What place did they finish again?
I don't know, because there was games yesterday, so I haven't checked.
Oh, okay.
They were 4th. I think it's probably going to be 4th. But I got a chance to speak to Colin Elms. You might have read some of this on AFTN, but here's the full audio interview as well. Just talking about the season and what he's learned, and he's got a couple of interesting things to say that he's looking to possibly bring to the team for next year. So here's Elmo. So Colin, your second PDL season's over. Best PDL season today. I'm sure it's a little mixture of happiness, but also a little bit of frustration that, you know, this was maybe a team that could have done a little bit more, but at the end, just the road trip killed you, and so some tough results towards the stretch, but still battling towards the end.
This division has always been very difficult. Everybody seems to take points off of everybody else. I think with Calgary loading up, getting ready for CPL, I think some of the other teams reacted to that, built their squads a little bit stronger. We were clearly a stronger group again this year, but the reality is you know, when you have peaks and valleys in your performance, like young players tend to do, you know, you got to kind of roll with those moments, and yeah, we had a few. You know, middle of the season sort of woes there where we just couldn't get much done, and you know, you start slipping away fairly quickly. But there, you know, we were in first place for a little while, briefly. We were in second place in the division with no games in hand for many weeks. Managed to maintain ourselves. Lots of firsts this year. First win on the road. First points on the road, first clean sheet. We won a thing called the Wanda Fuca Plate which clearly made our Swan Guardians very, very happy. There's been a real, with the CPL literally around the corner now, there's been a real focus from the players. Whereas last year it was kind of like this. What are you guys talking about? Now it's front and center, and there's been a lot of discussion about how that's going to roll, how the draft out of the youth sport is going to roll. What about the SFU players at the NCAA setup and whatnot? And so, this whole thing. If you look at the name of the league, it's Premier Development League, right? And this whole thing has been geared towards, as we like to say to these players, we hope that we'll never see you again. And I think that as this thing progresses towards the inaugural season of CPL, which I understand is going to kick off next April, there are a fair number of these guys that we will not see again. And so we've done our job to that degree. Would we have liked to have finished higher in the standings in the Northwest Division? Of course. Would we have liked to have won more games? Absolutely. But these guys, even today in the second half, never gave up. Right, got hit on the counter for the third goal, which kind of killed us off. But these guys have, there's been. Well, today in the first half for sure, but there's really been only 2 games where Willie and I have been disappointed in the overall kind of how they presented themselves and how they carried themselves throughout the 90 minutes. The rest, you get some good luck, you get some bad luck. We should have won some penalties down in lane in both of the games. Should have scored at least 1, probably 2 in Victoria. In our last game there, entered the penalty area like 25 times and barely stretched their goalkeeper and stuff. And so, even in some of the games that we've dropped all 3 points in, we've handled ourselves much better than we did last year. Last year there were a number of games where we were out of it by halftime. So,
Well, just the last thing then. We'll delve into this in a lot more detail in the off-season, but you learned a lot from year 1 to year 2. What's been your main sort of learning points from the second season for you to take into year 3 now?
I think if you look at somebody like Calgary, who clearly is as we said earlier, loading up for CPL. They had a very senior player at the back, Tommy Wilden's brother. He's in his 30s, but clearly still a player that is effective at this level. And to have somebody in that area of the park that would allow us, because it's ruthless back there, right? You've got 3 guys. I think our oldest player there, Skinner's a 99 for crying out loud, right? And Connor's a 96, and Danilo's 98. You get somebody in there with a little bit of experience that can steer things and calm things down and organize the players from the back. I think that's something that we're going to seriously look at for next year. It's difficult though, getting somebody to commit to playing PDL in that that age and level of experience, but we're going to try to make that work. And just learning to manage the group better, manage the game better. We're learning as we go here as well, right? And when we walk away from this and sit down and have a beer, as we say to our staff all the time, first place you got to look is at yourself, right? And so we'll sit down and look at what we could have done better to make this season roll a little bit more effectively. Obviously there's a bunch of off-field stuff that needs to be polished up as well, just like last year. We'll spend some time here in the next little while, kind of coming up with maybe 5 or 6 main points on how we need to sort of steer this thing for 2019. So.
That's great. Thanks so much, Colin. Been a blast as always, and we'll see you next year.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mike.
Colin Elms there, talking about TSS Rovers season. It was entertaining, it was fun, just it was kind of a shame that Calgary had stacked their team so much because they just ran away with the division.
So why was that a shame?
Because it wasn't competitive. It's just other teams couldn't compete. And then because they ran away with it, a lot of teams like Portland and Lane, their guys quit mid-season and a lot of them left. So then they were weaker and yeah. One thing I do hope that they sort out for next year, I spoke to Colin about this off camera as well, is that they had a 5-game away stretch and they need to have the games better. So you're not just going on the road for so long. But I did like what he said about trying to bring in an experienced defender into the team. Maybe he can
Nick Solsma of defence?
Yeah, maybe he can tempt Jayden Merritt out of retirement.
Yeah,
he could still do it at PDL level.
That's where he started.
But we'll see. It's hard to find these guys, I guess. Anyway, we'll be back with some Canadian PL chat and some BC Soccer Web headlines after this.
Hi guys, I'm Aaron Mon. You're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
We're going to talk Canadian PL to kick this section off. Exciting times continue. Hamilton now officially have their team after us waiting 2 years for them to finally announce it. Again, not a huge fan of the name. Forge FC.
It's because I think Steelworks, obviously.
Yeah.
So question for you about that. I've heard that there were a number of discussions about the team name for them. So one of the other ones, I think it was the one that was trademarked, was Founders FC.
Yeah,
Do you like that better?
That would have been worse.
Yeah,
that's worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now their symbol is.
I don't mind for
Hamilton Academicals. There we go. Why can't we go for that?
That's the Scottish name.
Yeah.
A hammer with the symbol is a hammer with sparks flying out of it. It includes 6 bands on the handle that represent the 6 municipalities of Hamilton.
That's lovely.
Yes.
I would be much more on board with these names if it was like Hamilton Forge, Calgary Cavalry.
It's very North American of you there.
Yeah,
I'm almost North American.
Blue and white army would be with you on that. I don't mind that they're a little bit different.
Will they will they say Forge FC of Hamilton or something like that? Will that come into play?
Winnipeg's logo has the Winnipeg on it, but they're actually called Valor FC.
Yeah. It just seems hokey. It's like.
Well, they could always adjust down the road.
I read someone.
They need to be open to adjustments, though.
Someone tweeted, and I can't remember who it was, otherwise I would name check them, but it feels very much like MLS 1.0. Kansas City Wiz, Dallas Burn.
No,
I thought that
it's
was
way better than that.
That's better than that, yeah.
Did you hurt yourself there?
I just hurt my foot. Oh. I was bending my toes and they bent away they shouldn't bend.
Okay. What did you guys think of their primary color is orange?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, it's not just orange.
It's orange, platinum, and white.
Yeah.
With a special black and gold jersey to be worn once per season.
To tie in with the Ticats.
Yeah.
I think that's so what do we okay, so what does the league have? It's got green in New York. It's got black and red and whatever. Calgary.
What's Halifax?
Halifax is
blue and white.
Blue and whitish?
I think so.
Ottawa?
Well, Ottawa's red right now.
Yeah, they'll probably stay red.
Because, they're Ottawa.
Yeah.
Blue in Edmonton?
Yep.
What's Valor? What color is that?
They're kind of blue and gold, too, I'm assuming, because of the Blue Bombers thing. But a different blue than Edmonton, for sure. And then what do you think Victoria will be?
Purple.
It is the Royal City.
You have to see.
Victoria.
We'll have to see this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this week it'll be launched.
Yeah.
Yep. The Salish Seamen get launched on Friday. I'm telling you, I've heard that's what it's going to be called. The voices in my head have told me that's what it's going to be called, and they're going to play in purple. But yeah, Victoria are launching their team this
I thought you
Friday.
would have gone with a different color there, but okay.
White? Victoria launched a team on Friday. I'm heading over to it.
Oh, sweet.
Flying over by helicopter.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wait, we're not getting paid enough, Steve.
No.
I won 2 years ago 2 return trips to Victoria by helicopter. I never used them. So
they're not expired or anything?
They had, but then I used my Scottish charm and they reinstated it. So
sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
So
are you bringing Caitlin?
No. You look intrigued.
So you could... one more person can come with you.
Yeah, or I can keep it and use it for their home opener next year.
That's a good
idea.
idea.
I was kind of thinking.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Now, if you pay a little bit extra, they'll fly you right to the middle of the pitch.
Maybe. I might need to.
Watch out for the hydro.
But anyway, that's our Canadian PL chat. I always want to say Canadian.
Did you watch the Hamilton feed?
No.
I watched part of it. It was...
Oh, actually, but one thing that came out of that, 'cause she gave me a weird look when I mentioned this previously. David Clanigan mentioned that they're going to be mandating for 6 Canadian players on the pitch at all times. So if you sub one off, you have to sub another one on.
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard that.
So that's a little bit
different.
Similar to the Whitecaps rule in USL,
but
it was only 6 starters, so they could technically sub someone off after a minute. But now it's got to be 6 at all times.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
They're going to have to have an expanded bench then.
So the other thing he said, I don't know if it was there or was in one of the articles that came in and around that time, was so there will be 8 teams. So there after Victoria, there will be more.
There was a couple of other things.
And then they said there's 16 other communities that have expressed interest to be involved in the years ahead.
But the other thing that he mentioned as well was they've got a pool of about 200 Canadian players that they've been scouting, and they've got at least 20 minutes of footage for each player. Yep. And that includes PDL, League One. I'm wondering if it's VMSL and they've used some of the footage that I've got up on YouTube, because that would be cool.
Your VAR footage?
Yeah. Anyway, now it's time for BC Soccer Web headlines.
Your toes recovered?
BC Soccer Web Headlines is brought to you in partnership with bcsoccerweb.com, your one-stop site for local, national and international news and links. Make it part of your daily routine. Check out bcsoccerweb.com. What's been catching your eye on the site this week, Steve?
One big quick update. They rescued the kids from the cave earlier this week on Tuesday. All 13 were brought out. And
so only one guy died, right?
Yeah, the retired
diver, which the kids were told about yesterday. Because they had to wait till they were in a mentally strong state.
And they missed the World Cup final. They had to say no to.
They watched it though. I think.
Yeah, but they were invited to go.
I'd rather, like I said before, when the invitation came out, let's get the kids out first, then we'll worry about whether they can.
Yeah, but they got out and they said, they have it because of medical reasons.
Yeah, they have been invited for future. I think some teams invited them.
They get to go to Qatar.
Yeah, no, like European competitions or something. They've been invited.
They got invited to Qatar, and then when they get there, they're going to find out they're building the stadiums.
Oh. Terrible. Well, one thing I heard was one of the scuba divers who's helping out, he's actually from the Fraser Valley.
Yes. Yeah, he was getting interviewed.
He's got a business in Thailand for diving.
Yeah.
They also said they discovered the team, because they didn't know where they were in the caves. They discovered them by smell. So that's great news if Cowdenbeath FC ever get trapped in a cave.
You'll have to, if you don't understand that joke, you have to go back quite a few episodes.
Oh my God.
You need a Wikipedia page for all your previous jokes.
Oh my God. What do they smell like again?
They're dirty and they're smelly. They come from near Lochgelly. Right. They haven't got a telly. They're Cowden family. The girls all have moustaches.
No.
That's enough. We got it. Okay, so I'll let Zach recover a little. Are we ready to go?
They all have dirty rashes. A nae expletive word ever washes the Cowden family. Only 2 verses.
I told you we're not going to get 2 hours. This is not dead air, by the way, if anybody's listening. We're just waiting for Zach to recover. It's not happened yet.
I would just keep going. I don't think he's going to recover.
No, okay. But see, at least all this stuff you could cut out, right? Afterwards.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at the content. It's just I don't know, Michael. You're hilarious.
Thank you.
Okay, so some quick hits. Nigeria is flirting with a FIFA ban. They're having political infighting. They're basically, one guy was elected. They've kind of said that he was corrupt. They got rid of him through the court systems in the government. They've appointed somebody else. FIFA doesn't like governments interfering with the federation, so there is a chance that something might happen.
They know how dishonest and corrupt governments can be, and they're like, there's no room for another dishonest and corrupt organisation.
Don't tell people in BC that Nigeria is flirting with FIFA, because then they'll want nothing to do with Nigeria.
Yeah. Ronaldo signs for Juventus from Real Madrid. We talked about that earlier. 100 million euros, 4-year deal. But some people in Italy are not happy. Fiat workers who kind of have similar owners, the parent company.
No,
or
not
whatever.
similar.
They are the. There's one.
Yes.
There's one actual.
The Agnelli family.
Yeah, there's one union that works in that particular factory that is not happy. So they're apparently going to be walking out on Sunday, which is today. I'm not sure if they did it, and they were going to remain on strike until the following Tuesday. They just feel that it's not the guarantee of the future for 1,000 people rather than enriching of one certain player. But a guy from Sheffield Hallam University, Rob Wilson, says Juventus is going to earn enough money through jersey sales and other stuff in order to make back all the money they spent on Ronaldo.
If you want to know more about the Agnelli family, HBO did a documentary in 2017 on him. It's not a lot about football, but the football comes up in there. It's a really interesting documentary.
They tweeted Ronaldo arriving at the airport during the World Cup final, to which Mike Martinego had retweeted it with like, "You've got two players playing in the World Cup final, and this is your big story. He's just arrived."
Well, nobody in Italy was probably paying attention to the World Cup at all, the whole World Cup.
Well, no one watches Serie A anymore anyway, so no one's going to see Ronaldo.
Sevilla is denouncing a Spanish FA decision. The Spanish Supercopa used to be 2 legs. Now it will be just 1 leg. They're playing Barcelona, and it's actually being played in Morocco, in Tangier, Morocco. Yeah. They basically feel like they're kind of changing this for the sake of Barcelona, so they don't have to play as many games. It kind of takes a few games out of their schedule. This is an interesting story. The chairman of the Confederation of African Football Disciplinary Committee, Raymond Hack, has detailed an unprecedented action against 22 match officials on the continent. They're accused of various forms of taking bribes. Most of these were part of the Ghanaian investigation sting. It was a documentary that was we talked about it weeks ago, where they caught the Saudi Arabian guy that was going to go to the World Cup and was denied.
Yes.
So that was that. Now, go ahead.
Raymond Hack, that's the Russian guy. Is it?
Hack doesn't sound Russian.
Everyone's talking about Russian hacks. I thought.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, that was in the news this weekend. You're right. Match fixing from 2017. There were apparently a total of 397 matches which showed suspicious betting trends.
All on the CSL.
32 of those were friendlies, including international friendlies.
All games that I was commentating on and making comments for the people listening.
But apparently there were 62 youth matches with signs of being fixed, which is
Dallas Cup.
Oh, I was going to say you can bet on youth matches, but I guess, yeah.
And then there's a breakdown of the majority of them are in Europe, about 241 of them, of the 397, with Asia being second and South America being third. Apparently not very many is North and Central America.
What is the number, 3 or 5?
Which one?
North America.
North America is way at the bottom. I would
5.
put there 5 or something like that.
Okay.
You talked about it earlier about the 2022 World Cup being the dates 21st to December 18th, November 21st. But Infantino added that there's been no decision made on the size of the tournament yet either. So it could still be the 48.
Because the South Americans had put forward the motion at the last FIFA Congress, and then they delayed it and said, we'll talk about this a little bit more.
Yeah.
Insane. To have
membrane.
it in Qatar, to begin with, 28 days is insane. And if you're trying to now have 48 teams, it can't work. It just can't work.
#math.
In the League of Ireland, which is playing currently right now, Bray Wanderers are going on strike over unpaid wages. As of right now, they're planning on it. They were last paid on May 25th, and they have not trained since the failing to receive wages 2 weeks ago. They have to give 7 days notice, so they have to play this weekend. We'll see if they play next weekend. I'm not sure.
That's Butu's old club, Wesley Charles' old club. That's where he played most of his league matches.
Oh, well. David Beckham news. They're unveiling another new Miami stadium and a park design. Miami Freedom Park. And this time it's near the Miami International Airport. It includes a large office and retail complex. It's a 25,000-seat stadium. It was to be voted on Thursday to be put on a referendum for November. So it's still going to be voted on by the public, but now it's been delayed 6 days, the actual vote to put it on the referendum. So we'll see what happens there.
Incredible.
Yeah. So the MLS in Miami is still not 100% at this point. Jesse Marsch, we talked about, nothing's been announced last week. He's been announced as the assistant coach in Leipzig. So
with Ralf Rangnick. So the thing is with Rangnick is he has coached, but more recently when he went to Dead Bull, he became like the GM kind of technical director kind of guy, like the vision guy. And so it's interesting that he is stepping back into the coaching seat, and it seems interesting that Marsh is choosing to be an assistant there. Rangnick is a bit of a polarizing figure in Germany. Some people really love him and some of the things he's done, and other people are kind of more wary.
Now, you guys talked about earlier, obviously, about the Forge FC in Hamilton. There was one bit of information that wasn't talked about. I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this. One of the officials, CPL officials, was quoted saying that the league is kind of a bridge between the 15 and 16-year-old players in Canada and the professional level. So those Canadians, are you thinking they're in the 17 to 23 range, and there won't be that many veterans in that like there obviously will be one or two veterans, but the majority will be the 17 to 23-year-old player in order to get them.
Calling it a bridge though makes it feel like it's a development league, and
yeah, do you know which person said that?
I wish I knew that. I could look it up right now while you guys talked about that.
Yeah, because that's not whoever said that.
I don't even know if it was a quote. I'll double check that. Well, no, I can't find that. Sorry.
That's okay. I'd be surprised if someone actually from the actual league actually said that, because that's part of the level of the league, the place of the league has been something that they obviously have been fighting for, which goes back to our conversation in previous weeks about their limited discussion with the MLS sides, right? They and their emphasis on this is Canada's top league, which it is. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that, Steve. We can talk about more next week.
Last bit of news here. We got the 28. We talked about earlier the 2018 Canadian Championship semifinals kicking off on July 18th. It won't be on television. It will be on CanadianSoccer.com and Yahoo Sports Canada. Any issues with that? Do you think they should be? This semifinals.
It's a national cup. It should be on TV.
Like TSN, obviously, maybe they're just World Cup burnt out and they don't have enough people to cover it.
They don't have any British people who could go commentate or cover it.
I'm happy. I'll go.
They can't afford you.
This is the problem with the CSA. They need to do you can knock them for like MLS or SUM's involvement with the USSF, but they were selling packages which involved the national team with MLS. The CSA should be selling packages of, if you want to show Canadian national team games, you also have to show the Canadian Championship.
So I think, Michael, going forward, that's what's going to happen with the CSB, Michael. So the Canadian soccer business, this will be probably one of the things that they do. We'll be bringing that into line.
And Steve's just found it was Dave Clanican himself that said it was going to be a bridge.
Interesting.
Head honcho.
So
I'll ask him on Friday.
A bridge for some of them, maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you ask him that.
Not an Ian Bridge.
No. Well, Ian Bridge was on the island, right, for a long time.
I think he was. Maybe he'll be the head coach.
I know you guys think it's like that doesn't sound great, but it is kind of what they're looking for, to find a spot for these young players to play.
Yeah.
So they can develop and then maybe move on to Europe or move on to somewhere else. Because they are going to be a feeder league, and they should be
almost every league in the world is a feeder league in one sense or another. But again, it's about
the optics.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But anyway, that is it for this week's show.
Brought to you by MLS, feeder league to anywhere else in the world.
I don't know if you saw my tweet today, but it was bizarre watching I think it was the Portland game, where it was like, Fox's coverage of MLS is brought to you by chocolate milk. It's like,
I had the volume off, so I missed that part.
That was one of the weirdest things I've heard.
The only Fox coverage I saw of the World Cup was when, at one point, I can't remember which game it was, the international field cut out, and they had to put in the Fox one.
We should talk about that, even though it wasn't in the headlines. But
I'm so glad that I didn't have to listen to this stuff, because it was horrendous.
Slated their coverage. I had a week of it when I was
the Foxes?
on vacation. Yeah.
So I accidentally only watched one game on Fox. Accidentally. Or part of one game. But to be honest, I didn't mind. A number of times I tuned into their evening thing where they're sitting in Red Square because they're bringing in Gus Hiddink is there. And
I thought that was entertaining. That was fine.
I don't know if I use the word entertaining. It was interesting, at least.
They had folk like Martin O'Neill over who suddenly disappeared.
They had multiple accents, which was nice.
You have an issue with the TSN panel, don't you?
A
few folk did today.
I really appreciate those guys.
I appreciate 3/4 of them.
Yeah,
No, he's not the one.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we can't have a Canadian voice on there.
Yeah.
To be honest, I
would have flown in Nick Dasovic. He's a Croatian. Why not have a Croatian?
Exactly.
That makes no sense.
I think that's bang on. To be honest,
Patrice Bernier.
He's
French.
I forget what World Cup it was. I want to say 2010 because it wasn't 2006. It wasn't 2002. So it must have been 2010. I really, really enjoyed the score.
Oh, I did too.
The score was amazing.
That was fun. Because they used Subudio. They used Subudio to actually break down the goal where they were moving players around.
So Christian Jack did his formation geek thing with the Subudio thing.
It was so much better.
And it was him and James Sharman.
Yeah.
And then Sid, which I don't really like Sid, but again, he was a Canadian voice.
No,
and Dunlop.
Dunlop was there. I don't know.
Sid
wasn't there as much, though. I think it was those three mostly.
Yeah, but Sid was there.
Let's bring that for the radio show. Let's break down the Whitecaps game via Subudio on air.
Is this video or
no? Pushing the boundaries even further. If looking through sticker albums on air is not enough, taking it to the next level.
I could bring my football Lego setup.
Yeah, awesome, sorted. Anyway, that is it for this week's show. Thank you for listening to our nonsense for the last 2 and a bit hours. We'll be back next week. Just before we go, let everyone know where they can find you online.
You can find me on Twitter at WhitecapsBeat.
It's at Zachary AM for me, and I'm a part of the Movement Curva Collective.
I'm Michael McCall. You can find me on Twitter at AFTN Canada, on Instagram at AFTN Soccer, and read our stuff, aftn.ca. We'll be back at 11 o'clock next week for the live show. If you've tuned in for Transcendence...
You're meant to say that at the beginning of the show.
I was driving in tonight and I thought, say it at the start. Remember to say it at the start. But if you've tuned in for Transcendence and you've just been kind of waiting in your trance state until now, Mike will be back at 9 o'clock next week. So until then, thanks for listening. Take care. And mon the Caps in the Voyageurs Cup.
Going to your first match is an experience you never forget. The atmosphere of what's going on around the pitch looks beautiful, and you always look and go, wow, I'd love to play here one day. If you get the bug, it's going to stay with you for life.
10 minutes left. Yeah, but there's still some time. It's not the final score. We need more than the numbers we're given. Show us you live and breathe the game. You're more than a name. That's what we came for. We can bring you more than the score. Every story. Let's take this thing off of the field into the real world, away from the numbers, away from the numbers.
AFTN.